Hello, thank you for joining us on the show this evening. It's Engendered O'Clock, where we talk about everything about the female gender. As usual, I am your host, Victoria Agbi-Idoko. Well, today we have an important topic to discuss here in the studio, and we've been joined by our guest. But before you get to meet our guest and before we unveil the topic to you, let's quickly go on the short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're still watching Engendered, and the show is just about to begin. Well, before we went on that break, I told you that we have a very important topic, and we have someone in the studio to discuss this issue, of course, the topic of today. But before we get to meet her, let me read you this background. Recall that early January, we had a story of one Timileyin Ajayi, a Nigerian TikToker who was accused to have murdered one Salome Adedu, a National Youth Service Corps member who died a few weeks ago at his residence. He had confessed to cutting and severing the body of the 24-year-old Corps member. Another was a case of a housewife identified as Mrs. Choma Nwaka, who died after being set ablaze by her middle-aged husband, Obiozo Nwaka, over suspected infidelity. It was gathered that the incident happened late on Tuesday at a village in Abagana, in Koka local government area of Anambra State. But the victim died on Wednesday morning at a nearby hospital where she was rushed to as a result of the burns she sustained from the accident. Well, today we'll be looking at the topic femicide. Putting into perspective these stories I've outlined or read out. Well, why there is no global, standardized or consistent record data on femicide, it has become an issue that is worrisome, and hence we need to discuss. Joining us in the studio today is Lois Amile. She is a sexual and gender-based mental health advocate, founder, Good Tides Philippian Mission Foundation. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
you know,
so
Lois, she's a regular here.
She's a family member.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Fine.
I think wedding looks good on you. See your ring.
Don't expose me. Oh, right. Well, I think we are just seeing you for the first time in this new year.
Yes, for the first time this new year. So happy new year.
Happy new year. It's good to have you on the show.
Same here.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. The hustle is real, and we are at it. You know, as the hustle is coming, wait till we are facing it, because you know there has to be breakthrough somehow.
True.
So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I pray I also pays actually.
Amen.
All right. You heard or you've seen the stories flying around. It's not just this.
It's traumatizing.
Like, we have different stories. Like, I just had to pick this two because they are more recent.
Yeah.
So I know it's kind of cliche, but to some people, they don't really understand what's going on. They just feel like, oh, it's not normal though, but they just see it as a thing. Oh, the husband got angry here and Kia, so what? Like, sometimes it's like that. They'll say, oh, she misbehaved, she cheated on him. Okay, so what? And now don't forget the story about Timileyin and Salome. It's been said that although some allege that she was his girlfriend, while the family said no, she is not
he has someone else.
Yes, not in the, maybe she was kidnapped. You understand? So what do you think is femicide? What is femicide? First of all, let's have our audience understand what femicide is.
So I'll just say that femicide is the killing of women. So when we say homicide is the killing of human being, but femicide is the killing of women in particular. So that's just what femicide means. Now, I'm not just going to bring any big grammar if that's what you're expecting. No, that's what it just literally means. The killing of women. That's what it means, and it's actually a real problem. The reason why I say it's a real problem is because last year, 16 days of activism.
Okay.
Our theme was every 10 minutes a woman is dead. You know, I think it's a nationwide or a worldwide, because it was the UN that gave us the theme. You know, so when they say every 10 minutes a woman is dead, you can see the statistics. They're not saying 1 in 3. They're not saying 1 in 4. They're saying every 10 minutes. It's a real issue. In fact, I've been talking about this for some time now because I think it's alarming. It's now coming closer. We can now feel it. When they said every 10 minutes a woman is dead, I was like, every 10 minutes. I was just thinking, it was something that I kept on meditating about till it started happening. You know, so last week I went home to see my mom, and immediately she saw me because she knows that it's my work. She said, what are people doing about this killing that happened? I said, oh, the one in Orozo. She now said, no, it's not the one in Orozo. That the other one. I said, oh, the one in Gogalada. She said, no, she has not heard of that one. That one too is there. That there's another one that they're talking about on Upper Mini News or something. She mentioned one news like that, and she was just talking. I was like, there's still another one. She said, yes, there's another one. And I was shocked, and I felt really bad, and it's something that is alarming. I don't know what to say. It's the cause of it, but it's a serious issue. Yeah.
Before we go into the cause, okay, you said something. I think I liked it. Of course, I cannot say it. Let's say verbatim, but let me paraphrase it. You are trying to tell us that until it gets to you, you might not know it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way you felt.
Exactly.
Okay, so I want you to perhaps you understand. Maybe you tell us why it is important. Because some people, like, for instance, people die on daily basis. It be man,
and it looks normal now.
Yeah,
before when we used to hear about these killings and all of that, a lot of people they cringe when they hear
surprisingly,
about it.
I was at an event, and one journalist was just saying the extent at which people are now used to death announcements.
Exactly.
And he now said something like, I thought maybe he was just like, okay, he was just saying it on his own, but I didn't know he was trying to explain to somebody. So when the person said there was a kidnapping in Kubwa, and they said it was 5 people, and he said only. I'm like, really? He said no, he's just trying to explain the way perhaps the media space would put it. Like, for instance, the other day, I think about 85 people died in a gas explosion, a tanker explosion.
I heard about it, yes.
And it seemed that it's just only 2 people, even 2 people only. It's not only. It seems as it's just one person.
A lot of people died from that, and now it feels like they have died. You know, so my lecturer was saying something today. He said that when they say people died, they'll say 1 minute silence. Even the 1 minute silence, some people are still pressing their phones.
True.
So it feels normal these days till it comes close to you, and then you're now like, oh, so death is real. Femicide is very real, and I think it's coming closer. It's coming closer because we can now feel it. Apart from this one that is happening, there are a lot of underreported cases. And in Nigeria, there is no particular law that is centered on femicide directly. We have the VAP Act, we have Maputo Protocol, we have other laws, you know, on sexual and gender-based violence, but there's no direct law, you know, about femicide. Maybe we just say, oh, the general killing of human, there's a law against it and all of that. And with the law, because sometimes you just hear a woman saying, oh, she just coughed and something happened and then she's dead, and people are just like, oh, maybe it's because of the cough, maybe because she was sick, but people don't get to find out what actually caused that. You see what happened to this the gospel worshipper, you know, Osinachi. We're talking about it somewhere, and I said that woman was dying gradually, and due to the beating. So some women are collecting beating today. You collect the first one, you collect the second one, you collect the third one. You're just collecting beating. At the end of the day, my mom would say, there's a way she used to say it in Yoruba, Onfa Bosara. It's compiling, and after some time, you know, you begin to fall sick, and you don't know that it's because of the beating that you have been collecting, and it's shortening your life. So it's actually femicide. you know, it's shortening your life. So femicide does not just come maybe one way. The reason why we're looking at it like this is because a lot of them is coming from GBV. A lot of them are coming from GBV, you know. So you get to see even emotional abuse. You see some people committing suicide because of what their spouse have told them. So all of this, most of these things are coming from GBV, and it's pointing so much, you know, on the women, because a lot of some men will say, we get to see these things happening, but the rate at which it's happening to women these days is alarming. And I think I've been saying this for a while, but I felt it's not true, even me saying it, but actually it's true. The emotional frustration, the economical frustration is an issue now. And a lot of people are passing that frustration on the people that are close to them, and most times it's the woman, because it's the woman that will say, please, do you have money for, can we pay for, can we, because she's the one that is seeing the needs around the house. And once she asks and you don't have that frustration, you just put it out on her, and sometimes on the children, and from there you begin to see that a lot of things are happening. I was talking yesterday on a radio show, and we're talking about the ripple effect on children, because we see that a lot of children to die from this. There was a case you sent to me that a daughter died after, you know, so much beating. So I think we really, as Nigerians, need to visit the therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it might seem as though so much priority is being placed on issues that relate to women. Yeah. Like we have special days for like gender-based violence. With the other day we finished the 16 days activism, and now femicide. Yeah. Okay. Is it that there is an issue with the masculinity or when it comes to the male gender that must be addressed? Because although many men will tell you that they too go through their own issues, and it's just that they do not have people, or perhaps they are not taught or trained to voice out. So why do you think there's so much priority, or I wouldn't want to say so much, but why do you think there's priority when it comes to the women? And now we are discussing femicide. Is there a root, like, is there an issue with the male masculinity, or just some set of men that have that they're perpetrating the acts? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start by saying that the prevalence for women is actually high. That's why a lot of people are looking towards, like me now, I'm a sexual and gender-based, I'm a certified sexual and gender-based advocate. So I don't advocate for just women alone, advocate for both male and female. But looking at the prevalence is usually high on the women's side. And that is the reason why you see us always talking about femicide, you see us always talking about all this abuse, rape and all of this that has to do with women, but it has to do with the both gender. So let's take this a little bit backwards, and let's look at the cultural effect and patriarchy that's happening in the country. And if I mention one now, everybody will start saying, hey, they've come again, and that's gender equality. Because it goes back to all of these things. And let me tell you, Victoria, it will shock you to know that it is even some women that are perpetrators of these other things. Listen, they say women supporting women. Some of it is not true. A lot of women are not supporting women. So you go to communities where you see that something happened to a woman, and it is the women that are shaming the other woman, and shaming the other woman in the sense that if you did not cook, he will not beat you. If you did not do this, he will not do that to you. No, if you did not, you know,
if you had done it.
No, I mean, don't they say, oh, when, like maybe something happened, they'll be like, they'll come and meet you and they say, but it's your fault now. Assuming you didn't, assuming you cooked. Sorry, assuming you cooked, you know, he wouldn't have beat you like this. Assuming you took care of the children, assuming you spent all your money on them, you know. So we have a cultural mindset that puts so much pressure on the woman, and this pressure starts from when you are young. When you are young and you see a young girl in your house, your mom say, this food, is this how you'll be burning food in your husband's house? They don't get to tell the boys that. So the pressure is always on them, and we grew up with that pressure. Once you get married, they'll say, when will you give birth? And let me tell you, the people that are asking these questions are the same women. And them too, when they were married, they went through some kind of issues, this same kind of issues. So I'm saying that sometimes the men are not just perpetrators alone. They have accomplices, and these accomplices are women. Because when you hear some of the women, they talk, they say, ah, you man, you know beat am when I make straighten up. You know, say now you go straighten her up. That's what some women will tell the man. And because of that, it begins to cause some of these issues. So sometimes when we face men and we say they are the perpetrators, they had some other engine from the back that was telling them that even myself, when I marry, you know, I they behave like so, but after some time my husband beats me, my head correct. You hear a lot of things and you're shocked. It goes back to the cultural background, the mindset that a woman is supposed to be like this. A woman, you need to cut her tail. You know, you need to do this and straighten her up for her to. I'm not saying that we don't have flaws, and that's what my husband will say. My husband will say, sometimes it's like we human beings, we don't get to think and look back into our own self, because we as individuals, we have our own flaws, but we don't look at our flaws. We look at other people's flaws, and then we begin to scrutinize their flaws and make them feel that they are less of a human. Because as a man, you also have flaws. But is it a woman that will say, oh, I want to straighten you up by flogging you? Does it go the other way around? So I also mentioned gender equality. And when I mentioned gender equality, a lot of people say, hey, gender equality, gender equality. In December, I went for a young feminist movement. We call it Young Urban Women Movement. Went to Lagos. It was, you know, sponsored by Action Aid. And when we were talking and we're saying we're feminist and all of that, and some people were like, we can't say feminist outside though, because once you say you're feminist, there's a kind of pattern there's a kind of banner or something that is put on you because of the myth that's put on you because of the word feminist. And I think the same thing is also happening to gender equality. So gender equality is like I can't remember, I think it's the programs director of Youth Hub, Mr. Shegun. There was a time he came on my show and he just defined it, and it made so much sense. And I called Mr. Shegun because I know that he is a man and is the best person to explain he for she. So when he came, he said that when you want to explain gender equality, just look at it as a door. You know, and they say everybody should come in. So when everybody is coming in, or when a man is coming in, the door is open, and then when a woman is coming in, you now shut the door. That is not gender equality. Or you say, oh, 10 men should enter and maybe 2 women should come in. So we should have equal opportunities. That's just what it means. Giving access to everyone. So if I'm a woman and I say, oh no, I don't want to pass through that door, I want to pass through a different door, that is based on what I want to do. Okay, it's not as if somebody forced me or not. But when they say, oh, gender equality, let's open the door for everybody to enter, then let everybody with equal opportunities, equal, you know, let each and every one of us come in. So I think all of this goes back to all of these things that I've talked about now. Gender equality, the mindset that we have had, you know, the patriarchal mindset that even the women they themselves, you know, are pushing into this thing. Sometimes the women will say, you know, beat that woman, well, make I help you. We go to communities and we see some of these things that some of the women are the one fueling it, you know, and the men are like, no, you know. So there are a lot of issues.
Okay, still talking about the root causes, because you made mention of feminism and gender equality. Now you've given a clear picture of what many people think gender equality is as against what people
think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't you think in a way, perhaps because of our gender roles, I don't know, perhaps maybe we need to go back to that gender roles, and there should be a shift, because they say, oh, you're a woman, so therefore you have to cook, you have to wash the plate,
you have to clean, you have to wash the plate, you have to come back home early before your husband, you must not sleep before everybody.
You know, I was watching it, I was going through a post on Instagram the other day, and the lady just gave an instance about how sometimes when she's on her days of shifts, she cleans the house, do everything on her husband's free days. Okay, yes, then he sits and presses his phone. Okay, so that paints the picture of what you're talking about.
Have you forgotten the song that they used to teach us when we were in secondary school? Father in the parlor watching film, children in the garden playing, but then mother in the kitchen. So there is a gender role that they've assigned to everybody, and it looks like that is what it should be.
But is that not what it should be? As a woman, okay, there's the way you have been you have been
tutored from,
not about the tutoring now, like there's a way you are, it's more like, or are you saying in a way that a woman can train herself to be a man? or play the roles of a man, or can a woman be a woman and still partake in what the man can? Because men are not even trying to be like women.
No, and even women are not trying to be like men. There's no competition. When it comes to gender equality, there's actually no competition. Like I just explained now, we're just saying access. Just give us access to what you have. When I'm talking about what you have, I'm saying it's not even for you in the first place. I'm saying politics, I'm saying job roles, I'm saying when I go to work, even unpaid care work. Okay, let's talk about when it comes to jobs. You hear things like, a friend of mine told me, she said she was seeking a job opportunity in a particular place, and when she came, she was offered like I think 70,000. But when a guy came for the same type of job, he was offered I think 150,000 naira.
But we know men will differ. They will feel like they always say that women get the upper hand when it comes to jobs like that, or searching for job. Men, I've heard men complain in their back end that I didn't get this job, but the woman did. So in a way, there seem to be there are things that women tend to benefit from more. But the only thing, I won't call it only, because not only, but there's some other things that it's felt as though, oh, the man has to be able to do this one, then the woman should do the other one.
Okay, just going back to what I was saying. So in that job thing, she was very good at what she does, but the excuse was that he is a man, he is the one to take care of his family, he is the one to pay house rent, so that's the reason why he's paid higher than her. Do you understand? That's what we're talking about. So when we're talking about roles at home, like what your friend just, you were saying, somebody said when she's on free days. So what is stopping you as a man, that is friends with his wife? You're at home, you're not doing anything. Why can't you just assist her? Why can't you? You see, it's not even assist her. The both of you have the home together. If anything spoil, it is for the both of you to fix it together. So why can't the both of you work together and achieve your common goal? Oh, there's no water in the house, he gets the water. Oh, there's no food, or there's no this. Why is it that the job role is now attached to one particular person? And I think that's where the problem is, because you'll be hungry for a long time if she goes to work and she has not come back. If you cannot just help yourself to do one or two, and that's where fights come in. So why can't you say, oh, what if it's your sister? I think we need to go there. What if she's your sister? I know people will be telling me, no, she's not my sister.
They will even say that their sisters have been trained by their mother to do. So there's a difference between you. It's not a slave and a master relationship. It's a friendship. You guys are one now. So whatever is good for the other person is also good for you. So once you see that, some people will say I marry so that I will not clean. Doesn't make sense. If you need a maid, then you get a maid. She's supposed to be your partner. You're supposed to work together. So if she's not around, if there's something that you need to help her with, why don't you put your hands together and also help her? There's sometimes that you are busy doing other things. Maybe you have jobs, or there's something that you need to quickly do, and again she's less busy or something. Why don't you just quickly assist? Or you're coming back from work, and you both of you are coming back at the same time. Why don't you say, oh, can we just eat something lighter? Some men will still be asking for pounded yam at that time. We're talking about consideration here. We're not talking about this particular job role is assigned to this person. So today I washed toilets. You are supposed to talk. I don't know how they do it, But I think some women are now trying to put timetable, because they feel that if we don't put it on timetable, I'll be doing so much. And some men, they don't want you to have help. And you're a career person, because nowadays the man's job cannot fend for the house. Look at the economical status of Nigeria. The man's money alone cannot. And a lot of women are career. How will I go to school? And some ladies go to private university. I went to a private university. I'll finish school. When I finish school, you now tell me that I should sit down at home. It's not possible. To me, it doesn't sound. But there's some women that want to stay at home, and even staying at home is a lot of work. Yes.
So stay at home moms. I'm not talking to bring you down or anything. It's a lot of work, because before you wash, clean, do all of those things, it's a lot of work.
Like someone was saying the other day on social media that take it easy with the house chores. House chores no dey finish.
You know they finish.
Like you just go over it all over again.
Exactly, because there's always something to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you've highlighted some of these issues pertaining. You've mentioned societal issues, norms, cultural issues. But then, how do we address it? Do we have to go back to the grassroots, to the culture itself? Can it be changed? I know they said culture is made by man.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my mind, when someone is saying that, and they say this woman, if you sleep with him, a married woman sleep with another man, she's going to die. I'm telling the person that culture is insensitive, but not like trying to excuse the infidelity in it, although, but you don't give judgment. And I believe those kind of culture can be changed. But many people feel like, oh, in a way, culture helps to. Well, it's true. Helps to like build a society. Do you think we have to go back changing those culture?
So I'll say that I'm already going back to change the culture because I work to end female genital mutilation, and we know that it's a very strong force because they will antagonize you everywhere. In fact, I went to advocate in Ekiti State. Ekiti State used to have the second highest cases of female genital mutilation in Nigeria, and I advocate in Ekiti State and different parts of the world, and of Nigeria rather. And honestly, there are a lot of people saying they did not teach her, their parents did not know that's how we used to do it, a lot of things, because there are a lot of causes of female genital mutilation. But just going on talking about the culture now, it's important that we change the narrative, because we need to one of the things I said I was going to do this year, 6th of February, which is International Day for Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, is debunking the myths on female genital mutilation. Some people will say when the head of the baby touches the clitoris, the baby will die. So a lot of myths around female genital mutilation. So we just go there and we let them understand that, oh, this thing you're saying is not true. So we see a lot of women with clitoris and they give birth and their children is alive. In fact, their children have given birth to other children. Okay, so what would you say about that? So we go around debunking it. So we're trying to explain to people that these things are wrong. You don't beat your wife because you feel that you want to create in her a sense of discipline. You don't beat your wife because you think that you want to show her that you're the superior one, or you want to command respect. There are ways to command respect, but not by beating your wife. So that we're talking about femicide, and these are the cultures that are around it, and that's why we're trying to go into communities, and we're saying that this is wrong. For some time now, I've not even had time to go to communities and all of that, but I use the media a lot. I use the media every opportunity I get to tell people that most of these things are myths. You don't need to beat somebody. You need to create pain on somebody before you can say, oh, this and this is what I want. You can just communicate it. For female genital mutilation, you want to mutilate your child because you don't want her to be promiscuous, and at the end of the day, she is now looking for satisfaction out there, so she's promiscuous. So what have you done? You have not done anything. So we're trying to create that awareness in the minds of people that all of these things are cultural myths, and we need to debunk them. There's a way you can talk to your girl child and you say, oh, it's important that you keep yourself away, abstinence from sex, because this and this and this and this are the things that you benefit from it. So I think it's a line of duty for each and every NGO. I think each and every one of us should do that. Creating awareness is one of the primary role of any. I don't think there's any NGO that should not be a primary role for you. Debunking the myth, because that's where it starts from. It's a root cause, and that's why you get to hear femicide. When you hear femicide, you say, okay, where did this start from? Let's go back. Apart from this, because some people are psychopaths, so we cannot say it's due to maybe FGM or you were going there.
I was going there because I was going to ask, okay, because we're seeing people who had this cultural mindset in a way. They are extremists when it comes to things like that, but they don't beat their wives, they don't do that. So I was going to ask if you think it has to do with something like attitude or perhaps character, and how we can identify this as women. Maybe you speak to women out there, how they can, because you find some women, they stay in relationship, just dating and courtship, and my husband was telling me about a neighbor of his that was always beating his girlfriend. This girl will still go and come.
Not wife.
Yes, girlfriend. This girl will still go and come back again, stay in the house, and he was beating her. If that kind of a man proposed to her, I'm sure she's going to accept.
Yes.
Okay, so these are just traces of they see women see, and yet
they remain there.
They remain there. So perhaps if attitude and character has a role to play, can it be identified as a root cause?
Yeah.
And of course, how women can identify these issues when they, so that to avoid things like that in the future.
Yeah. So I would say that it's very important that we look at the character. Love is not the, like I always say, it's not the major how do I say this now? It's not the major thing to look for or to see as a sign when you want to go into marriage. You know, some people say, I love him, we've been together for 10 years, for 7 years. That's the reason why I want to marry him and all of that. There are a lot of people that have behavioral issues. A lot of people have psychological issues, serious psychological issues, that sometimes they just go into it and they come out of it. And it's when they come out of it that you see the goods. Why is it that you see some men, they will hit their wife so much, and then later they come back and say, oh, sorry, I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of them have psychological issues that they don't even know that they have. And in Nigeria, when you talk about therapists, people say, you be Oyibo, why you they go therapist place? You be Oyibo person. You understand? So they will tell you, you're a hard person. Come bring yourself together. What are you going to therapist for? You understand? And that's the reason why we see cases of suicide. Because some people, they cannot just say, oh, I want to go to therapy. Say, why would they pay another person to advise me? I'll go back to my mama. My mama go help me. Or they'll go to the church and they'll say, pastor's wife or pastors. Religion. They will do all of that for them. But I want to say that it is important that you take your time. Look at the person. Go to the background. Does the person's father beat his mother? Because some of these things are you know, generational. How do I, there's a word, there's a way they call it, you know, they carry it into the next generation. And apart from that, this, if it's not even generation, if it's not in the blood, some of these children see their parents doing it, and so they want to replicate it, while some see their parents and they don't want to do it. So it's important that you go to the root and check. So is this the kind of person I want to marry? Don't allow love to cover your face and be like, oh, this is what I'm looking at. So I was talking about the mindset of women that have been beaten and they still stay in that relationship. And I was thinking so deep, why should you be beaten? Why should you be battered and you should still stay inside? And let me tell you, it's not just for women that don't have money. You see some women, they have money, they are rich, they have good educational background, and they're still in toxic marriages. And you begin to wonder, what is wrong?
Married and bear misses.
They want to stay married. They don't want people to say, your mother, and so she no stay for marriage. She leave the marriage. You too, the same thing want to happen to you. They want, see, let anybody that wants to count it, if that's the person's duty, let the person be counting what he wants to count. It is your life, and I think your life should count. Somebody was telling me on my show last week, Mo, she said, leave so that you can live. Leave that relationship so that you can have your life. Because the world still needs you, the world still wants to hear your voice, the world, there are products that we can get from you. You know, their psychological, you know, help or whatever it is that we can get from you. So it's important that you leave so that you can live. We're not advocates, because people will say, they'll say that lady, no carry your marital issue, go tell her. Some people don't want to tell me it's your business. You know, they used to say, they say, don't carry now divorce. It's not, I'm not preaching divorce. They will say she did her own marriage, they preach divorce. I'm not preaching divorce.
Say that because she's divorced, she wants it to be divorced.
Exactly, I'm not divorced. You know, but it's important that you know these things. It's important that you check. That's why sometimes Pastor Mildred will say, check before you marry. You don't just go into a marriage and just see somebody on the street and the next day you are married, and you are now wondering over time that what happened to this person? Did this person change? He has had that in him over time that did not find expression. It is now that it is finding expression, because a man that loves you from the start, you know, you were asking me that how can somebody love you from the start and all of a sudden the person just change? It happens. But even with that, the person had it in him for a long time. And I would say that there are a lot of things that provoke a person. You know, I can provoke Victoria here. We can provoke each other. But how we go about our anger also matters. And that brings me to anger management. A lot of men, a lot of women out there don't have anger management. You enter, you're going to somewhere, even on the, we're not even talking about husband and wife relationship now. You are going to somewhere and somebody just, the way you would scream at the person, somebody steps on you or something, the way you would be so angry at the person, the way you want to fight, you are already jacking the person's clothes. And I'm wondering, this thing is something that we can resolve amicably. You don't need to, I think a lot of Nigerians need to do the conflict resolution. You know, these are things that we can resolve amicably. Why must you, you know, do all of that? Must you fight until you see blood before you allow the matter to go? You know, a lot of all of these things. I think we need to really step back and think, because a lot of us don't do self-evaluation, and I think that's where the problem is. You don't go back and say, oh, today how was my day? What did I do wrong? How do I correct it? How do I improve on myself? You know, and all of that. I think it starts from there. You as an individual, you can, you know, make a psych evaluation on yourself. You know, you go back and think, because if you're a better person, you're supposed to find another better person, and then you come together as husband and wife. But if you're a bad person and you move together with another, you know, better person, because I would not say we're perfect. You come together with another, you know, better person, the equation will not be balanced, and you get to now see, oh, domestic violence, oh, this and that. But I think we gradually, every day, we just begin to look at ourselves and say, oh, how can I get better? What do I need to do to get better? You know, how can I manage my anger? Oh, I was somewhere and I did not manage this anger properly. What can I do, you know, to manage my anger? Some things may not even be anger. Some things may be something else that you know that you're not doing well. Some people like to shout, you know, they keep shouting. How do I address this? This girl I saw on Instagram, she said, mommy, the mom said, okay, so tell me, give me feedback, what are the things you think you don't like about me? And I think African parents don't do that. It's important we do that. And the girl said, mommy, you shout a lot. You will say, I think it's Chisom, she said, Chisom, why didn't you carry that? He said, mommy, I can hear you. You're shouting too much. You know, and that alone is affecting her, because, you know, we have something like emotional abuse. When maybe a partner or somebody, it keeps, you know, rendering words on you that tends to reduce your confidence or something like that. And sometimes you don't get to see bit marks. You don't get to say, oh, these are the signs. But the person is gradually, you know, moving towards depression and all of that. So these are the things we should work out, you know, look out for. When it comes to, you know, you look out for domestic abuse. Does he insult his parents? His elderly ones are around them. Does he respect? If he doesn't respect, they cannot respect you, because those are the people that have been in his life for all his life.
Okay, let me come in here. No, you know, we're still talking about character and attitude. In choosing a partner, some people say like opposite attracts. Oh, I'm cool. He can be fluffy. He can shout. So we don't want a dull house. So he should be shouting. Let me be cool. Okay, he has anger issues.
I don't have
anger issues. So when he's angry, I'll go to him and calm him down. Okay, so those are the things that some people
those are the excuses that we give. But I feel that they are excuses, because if there's an issue that have been pointed out that you have, because me, I'm known to be impatient. Sometimes I can be impatient. I've tried now to, you know, because I know that if I'm waiting for somebody and the person is not there when the person is supposed to be there, and me, I'm someone that likes to be prompt, and the person is not there when the person is supposed, I will be so, you know, I'll be so angry. I'll be so angry to the extent you'll be wondering what's going on. The person was just late for 5 minutes. Why are you so angry? You understand? So I started learning to be patient with people. I started learning to be, oh, okay, this person stepped on me. Okay, maybe the person did. You know, I started learning to be patient with people. Don't say, oh, because I'm hot-tempered, so he should not be hot-tempered. He should be calm-tempered. I don't know what people give the excuse to be, but I feel that we should all work on each other. If you're hot-tempered, you seem that you're hot-tempered. Some people even say, you know that I'm hot-tempered. I will slap you. You know I'm hot-tempered. I'm wondering, you're hot-tempered. You know you're hot-tempered. Because some people, they say, oh, if you find the cause of a thing, then you can address it. If you know that you're hot-tempered, then address it. If you know that you have a particular issue, then address it. If you know that, oh, your own is you have body odor, you don't say, don't worry, I have body odor normally from our family. That's why all of us in our family have body odor. You just stay with it like that. No, you address it, because you're offending the next person. It's offensive, so you're offending the next person sitting close to you. Don't say, oh, in our family, that's how we used to be. Nobody shaming anybody, but that's how we used to be fat. That's after some time we begin to have blood pressure, high blood pressure. After some time, you know, my auntie even died when she was 50 years. Don't give that as an excuse. You keep working on yourself. So what can I do to get better? This you see that your uncle, he beat his wife, the wife died. You see this one, he beat his this. That's how they used to beat people in our house. So what can you do as an individual to change the narrative? You know, say no, not be me the thing start from. It start from since our generation, not be me go stop them. That is what people say, and that's the excuse that people give. But you can be the change agent in your environment. You can be the one that will create the peace. Don't say, oh, if I'm talking, she should keep quiet. That thing you're saying to her is making her offended, and keeping it in mind is causing bitterness for her. So sometimes women like to say what is on their mind as well. I know my fellow sisters, we like to talk. But, you know, women like to say what is also on their mind. You understand? So you cannot just say, oh, I'll be rendering curse on you, and me as the next person, because you are the hot-tempered person, I'll just keep quiet and be looking at you. So put yourself also in her shoes and imagine that she's saying all of those things to you. Can you take it? So I think we need to go back and reevaluate. We need to check ourselves and check, so what is going on, what is wrong. Even say our we need to go back and look. So in my father's house, what are the things that have been happening? Because there's some psychological issues that you don't know that you actually have. Sometimes it may be low self-esteem. You know, when your wife is saying something that, but can you not do this? Can't you do that? And you're feeling like she's saying that you are incapable because of low self-esteem. Yes, because you feel that, you say she's saying something and you think
another.
You are thinking another. Exactly. You're thinking another and you're giving it another meaning. And from there you begin to see. I think sometimes we should wait and assess and reassess before we act, because there are some actions that we cannot take back. There are words we cannot take back. I'm talking to women as well. You know, as I'm talking to the men, there are words we cannot take back. There are actions we cannot take back. So let's go back and reassess. Like my husband will say, it's important that you walk away because sometimes I used to drag him into these issues. On 1st of January, a girl called me, because sometimes we get some of these reports in my foundation. A girl called me. She said, auntie, please, so come and help us. Come and I said, what is the problem? She said, we did not stay at home. I did not want to call you because it was night. I said, what happened? She said the father drove them out of the house and he went to drink, and when he was drunk and he came back, when he came back, started fighting everybody. Said that my mom was sleeping with somebody close to the neck at the next door. In fact, the mom made, you know, all this type of hair that is on my head now. He dragged it out from the root. I think one or two. She was bleeding. It was bad. I said, how did you get my number? She said, my mom gave me your number, that she can't speak with you, but she wants me to speak with you. So I was just thinking, you know, they say when two elephants fight, it's the ground, and it's the child that is suffering that particular thing. So if you know that your own is alcoholism, how do they call it? You're alcoholic. I don't even know. You're using that as a bad habit. You're holding on to it as a bad habit, and you're using that to, you know, because that's what a lot of men do. It's only when they are high, that's when they beat their wives to stupor, and when they are okay, or when they are broke. Exactly. You know, that's the economical issue that we're talking about. Or when they are broke, they pass it on, you know, the frustration, they move it on the next person, and then they begin to misbehave. Okay, let me ask this question, 2 questions on a blow, because we are out of time. Okay. So let's ask, should there be justification for woman battering, femicide, as the case may be? No. Okay. Before you move to the next question. Because you see that some people say, like that story I read to you, you said the woman cheated on him. Okay, so he went to being petrol. Okay, so and burnt her alive. Okay, so some will just capitalize on the infidelity. They will say, oh, the man would have been going through a lot or something like that. And secondly, I'd like to ask, what's the role of the community? Okay, because most times you see that the neighbor next to that man beating his wife, or that woman beating his husband, it's not my business, so make I mind my business, so, or something like that. And you still see these cases going high and high and high every day. What role can the community play in reducing femicide in the society, and the role of the government too? Because it seems as though that many people are really praying that Salome gets justice, because according to reports, Temin Lane pleaded not guilty in court. Okay, so what is the role of government, the judiciary, in solving this whole issue? So the reason why I said no, that there's really, is because last year,
just in 4 minutes.
yes, okay, just in 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so last year we talked about the hashtag no excuse. So there's no excuse whatsoever that you lay your hand on a woman. There's no excuse whatsoever that you say, oh, you want to, you carry petrol, you pour petrol, you pull matches, and you burnt her. And you say, oh, because she was, because of infidelity. So there's no excuse.
Okay.
So now going into the community, I will always say this, and I would say this as a person that is a grassroots advocate. So when we go into communities, we tell women leaders that it's not about doing adache contribution, wearing clothes on how you people used to do women events, that you wear the same clothes. It's not about that. It's time for women in communities to stand up and say, please, we don't want this to continue. We've seen communities where a man beat his wife, and the women in that particular community, everybody came together and went to that and marched to the house. They didn't do anything to the man. No, they stood in front of the house and they kept on saying, it is wrong, don't do this to us. They kept on saying it. And as they kept on saying it, a lot of people in that community now started saying, oh, this thing is what the man, somebody said, if you don't name it, we can't shame it. If we cannot point out and say this thing is wrong, then we can't shame it. So let's stop looking at our sisters and everybody being, our sisters in particular being, dealt with, and we're just quiet about it. And it's important that we find allies. The men become allies with us. When you go to where you guys are, taking Arabian tea and all of that you guys used to do, football and all of that, when you know that particular man that is beating his wife, I think it's important that you talk to him nicely and tell him that, okay, this particular thing you are doing is not good.
True.
There is no mind your business about that, because once something is bad, it is bad.
Instead of them boasting about it, because you see so many men boast about it in this
I will just deal with her.
If Namia for bitter,
yes,
you understand. So well, it's been you've highlighted very important points that we must take cognizance of. Even community based, in a way we will have to advocate.
Exactly.
We have he for she's
exactly
in the society,
and even to the government, they need to fund grassroots organizations. I don't know if they do that, but most times it's the international organizations that usually do that for grassroots organizations. And I don't know, maybe I know they do that for some organizations, but it's important that they actually look for the grassroots organizations themselves that are funded by, most times that are led by females, that are actually there, to help, reduce some of these things. Because once you do that to some other people, you get to see that a lot of money is wasted and there's no result.
Thank you, Lois. It's been a wonderful time. I'm sure the viewers out there have taken a thing or two from our discussion this evening. I hope when we call on you next time, you will come.
Definitely.
All right, viewers, that's the much we can take on this show. When you've heard it, it is wrong to batter any woman. Do not do it. Do not use verbal or emotional or whatsoever form of abuse on any woman. It is wrong. Let's say no to femicide. I remain your host, Victoria Agbi-Idoko. Until next time. Bye-bye.